I'm finally starting to understand that classic line that Murtaugh gives. I'm too old for this shit. Not for this shit. Just certain shit.
There's shit that you're too old for. Let me ask you this: how much shit are you too young for? Or just of age?
I'm of age for this shit. I'm definitely of age to rent a car. I'm of age to have a 401k.
There's this really sick joke that my boy Jim does, and he's like, I want to date a girl, and I want to make sure that when I start dating her, that she's literally 18 years old. Like, I want to start dating her on her birthday so that I know that she's legal, but she's not like too legal.
She's like fresh out, just got legal, got her legal pass. Welcome back to Super Throwback to the Classics, the cinematic movie podcast that takes you back to the iconic films of 20 years and beyond, right here on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Spotify. I am your guy, Jay Alonso. With me, as always,
Danger Neff, Dave Danger Neff. How are you, partner?
What's going on? Now, I get it. Some people are out there today saying, did y'all just do a damn Super Throwback last week? We did.
And we wanted to surprise you.
We want to surprise you. Throw
Merry
another
Christmas.
one on you real quick. Merry Christmas. And we figured we have these two movies. We did Die Hard last week. We have another movie that's kind of sort of centered around Christmas, but not like the Christmas movie.
What are you talking about? It starts out with Christmas music.
It 100% does. But then it gets very dark very quickly.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
But we figured, we'll do a Super Throwback this week because next week we have two. That's right. Count them. 2 episodes dropping for you guys next week. That's another Christmas gift from BTTC to the cine folks out there. We have a guest on the show next week.
Yes.
And then another show we're doing next week. We're not gonna tell you what it is, but we do it every year.
No, I think we can go ahead and tell them.
Can we tell them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dave and myself will be knocking out the top 10 best and worst movies of 2018. That'll be one of the shows we'll do next week, and another one we'll keep on the wraps until next week.
Now, there you go.
And I'm looking forward to it. We see some good stuff this year.
And we've seen some bad stuff.
We see some horrible stuff this year. So we're looking forward to getting that debate going, and let's see what happens from there. We have some news to cover. Before we get into the big news at hand, let's talk about the new studio.
So we were kind of keeping this a little bit under the wraps, but we filmed this not in front of a live studio audience. What we did was, what the Beat Network family really did was we came together and we said we really, really, really should be getting getting an actual studio where we're actually in a location. Everybody has a key. Everything is set up, where it's kind of spread out. So yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to be a kind of a weird transition. So expect a little weirdness, I guess, in terms of when the shows actually kind of come out as we're trying to figure out like everybody's schedule.
I'm pretty sure we'll likely rework our schedule.
A little bit.
As far as the release schedule.
Yeah, a little bit. The good news is that this is going to give us a lot more opportunities in terms of visual content.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of you guys really like to watch this on YouTube. And we want to make sure that you guys get that content wherever you listen to your podcast at. The main, and to be absolutely 100 with you guys, the main reason why we're doing this is for the opportunities for sponsors to actually be on our show. I know some people may not feel like that sponsors is necessary, but you know what? We need to get paid also. So with that being said,
we need to get paid.
We need to get paid. With that being said, congratulations to us. It's been.
How excited are you for this new?
You know what?
Studio?
I'm pumped. I really am.
I'm so hyped.
When we first heard the news, like it's starting to become a little bit of a reality because just remember, guys, like New York Comic Con was only 2 months ago, and that's when we all came together and said, all right, we need to really put our time and effort into this joint, and we have a lot of great opportunities in doing so. There's new content that is being developed as we speak. That's in the brainstorming process right there. And, The one thing that we want to make sure is we're still going to give you all the best content that we possibly can based on Back to the Classics and Reel It Back. We just want to expand that to be more. So that being said, I want to make a real quick open call for those of you who are actually interested in the Las Vegas area to join us in the new studio to possibly record for us. Please hit us up either on the Facebook page or hit us up at our own Instagram tags, or hit us up at the BTTC podcast page on Instagram. The more we know of how interested you are, the better the show is going to be.
Absolutely. And furthermore, like Dave said, we're coming together. We have brand new content being developed as we speak. I myself am now writing with Hollywood Kev a short film, and I'm also writing a web series as well. So I'm looking forward to that, based on my actual job, which is dope.
Yeah, it's a romantic comedy, right?
No, it is not. But we'll get to that in due time. But like Dave said, this is a golden opportunity for us to expand our horizons, really, capitalize on our talent, if you will, and take Beat Network to the next level, and be that dominant presence in this media thing, man. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, and we've seen nothing but progress. Our fan base has definitely doubled since then. On top of that, we've been hanging. Dave's been on the show officially permanently since March.
Yeah. And now we're moving into a new
Where
studio.
did the time go?
Hospitals and
and whatnot, and people got sick and people were sad. But above all else, I cannot wait to fucking in 2018. Yeah. That's on a personal level. But besides that, we are going into the new year with big, massive plans for Beat Network, for BTTC, for Reel It Back, for all the Beat Network content. And you stuck with us this far. Keep on rocking with us. We'll continue to bring you guys off the chain content, and we're just be badasses at what we do.
That's right.
I like it.
And definitely, and one final thought, we absolutely want to thank you guys for all the tremendous support that you've provided for us. It's been a journey for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But without your guys' love and support, we wouldn't be doing this thing. So thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you so much. Let's switch it up for a split second. It's going to be a bit of a somber moment, but I
feel like we always have somber moments.
We do, but I feel it's like it'll be a bit of not injustice, but we're in this industry. We're in the movie industry. We're in this movie media industry. So I feel like just take a quick moment out to say our condolences, and of course a major rest in peace to Penny Marshall, director of such films as Big. She directed League of Their Own.
That's right.
David, give me some.
Well, I mean, she was on Laverne and Shirley for such a long time. That was a pretty big thing. I mean, she's been in a lot of things. Like, she directed Riding in Cars with Boys. She directed Big. Did you ever catch Jumping Jack Flash?
I did. I remember she was also in Get Shorty as well.
Yeah, she was like one of the people that, unfortunately, that we didn't get to grow up with. But I always find that she always kind of stuck around in movies as herself. Didn't she play herself in Get Shorty?
I believe so. But she's directed Big, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Awakenings, League of Their Own, Renaissance Man, which is probably one of my favorite Danny DeVito movies for sure.
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
Of course, the Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston and Denzel Washington. So she has a pretty legit catalog.
She produced a lot. Cinderella Man, she was a producer.
She produced a lot.
Yeah.
So she was definitely an incredibly talented individual. Like Dave said, we didn't have the opportunity to really grow up with her. Laverne and Shirley was definitely a bit before our time.
Right.
But, the impact that she had on the film industry, to this day is definitely nothing to sneeze at. She definitely had left a mark on Hollywood. And it's unfortunate that, she's left us at the age of 75. But, on behalf of, back to the classics. We salute Penny Marshall, and may she rest in eternal peace.
May she rest in peace.
Let's get into it.
You're all sorts of pumped up.
I am, because I have a few things I have to get off my chest, right? Now, with this being said, we called an audible because we're going to do the 2 shows next week.
Right.
So talking to Dave yesterday, he's like, you know what? Let's do this movie. And I was like, we just did Super Throwback last week, but fuck it, let's do this movie.
Well, it kind of made sense. Like, there was nothing that really came out in 1998 right around this time. Unfortunately, it kind of stinks with our schedule that we follow a certain format, and because of that, sometimes you're going to get duds.
Oh, yeah.
But this movie is something I grew up with. Like, come out in 1987. Like, I remember all 4 movies. I went to the 4th movie was actually released in 1998, and unfortunately, we didn't cover it this year.
That is true.
But it was something that was like incredibly special to me. Mm-hmm. It was when I was a kid. All right, real quick. When I was a kid, the 3rd movie had come out in 1993, if I'm not mistaken.
3rd movie was out in 93, 92. There was definitely a gap between the 3rd and 4th movie, for sure.
All right. The reason why I know that is because I didn't start speaking English until I was 7, right? So learning this word was something that was just learning this movie title was just it was a personal experience for me, because it was the first time I had to really switch my thinking and kind of said it incorrectly. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and say the movie title, but I'm going to say it in my version, right? We're talking about.
Wait. Are we going to do a 2-minute drill?
We're definitely doing a 2-minute drill.
So should we tell the title now or after the 2-minute drill?
We'll tell you the title afterwards, but then I'll tell you how I said it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you can even do the intro without you say it. All right. So let's get into some 2-minute drill. Watch Dave kick my ass, because
this is going to get ugly.
This can get ugly, but at the same time,
this is going to be like the Canelo fight over the weekend that nobody knew about.
I certainly didn't know about it.
Canelo all of a sudden just fought somebody, and I'm
wait a minute. When did you fight?
He fought this weekend.
This is an actual boxing match, or an outside Walmart fight?
No. He fought a boxing match last week.
Holy shit.
To collect another title, and I'm like, who did you fight?
And nobody knew about this?
Nobody gave a shit.
All right, let's get into it. 2-minute drill starts now. Okay, so what age is Murtaugh turning in this movie?
50. Although Danny Glover was 40 at the time of filming.
Oh, he played 10 years.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
How long had Martin and his wife been married before she died?
4 years?
Nope. 11.
Damn. How does Riggs' wife die?
Are we talking canon? She was
canon.
Okay, so she was shot, and that was later explained in Lethal Weapon 2.
No,
she was drowned. That's it.
No.
Okay, I'm wrong.
She dies in a car accident.
That's fair. Although they said that was in Lethal Weapon 2, and I hated that.
They lied.
They totally lied. Michael Hunsaker. Mm-hmm. All right, is the father of the girl who fell to her death and was a friend of Roger Murtaugh's. Mm-hmm. Where do they know each other from?
College?
No. 2, 1. No, they were in Vietnam.
Ah, shit. Okay, here we go. We got 50 seconds left. What street does the general's car get hit by the bus on?
Sunset.
Incorrect. Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood, yeah. It was one or the other. What was the name of the call girl who said that she was an eyewitness when Miss Hunsaker plunged to her death?
Shit.
3, 2, 1.
Dixie.
Yes, you're correct.
I guessed that, by the way.
I know you did. All right, one more. Let's hear it.
All right. Shit. How much time do we have left? We have no time left. Never mind. Well, there you go. That's 2-minute drill right there. We have 2 seconds left. Well, I got one right.
And I got one right.
So once again, we're pushing.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, if you don't know what movie we're talking about, we're taking it back, super throwback, 31 years ago. And I'm gonna let Dave say it in his native tongue.
We're taking it back to Leaping Weapon. I mean, Lethal Weapon.
Leaping Weapon?
Yeah, it was Leaping Weapon 3 was my favorite movie back when I was 6 years old. It was my favorite movie because it was the first real words I could say in English.
It sounds like a really bad ripoff that was probably done in another country too.
I was 6, son. You know, like what are you doing to me here?
Why
are you ruining my childhood?
Do weapons leap? I don't think they do.
Jet Li leaps.
He does leap. He is a weapon. Original release date, March 6, 1987, 31 years ago. Mm-hmm. Shares opening weekend with Angel Heart.
I've seen it, and it's not a bad movie.
Not a bad weekend.
No.
Production budget, $15 million for the box office total of $120.2 million. Currently sitting at an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think that's a little low. I would consider it probably a 90 for me.
You think so?
Yeah, because first off, I need to be fair because the director always gets a lot of crap. Richard Donner nowadays, like people would think that he plays it too safe. Mm-hmm. And they talk about this a lot in his IMDb's where he's like, he doesn't really like filming like dark scenes. Who was the writer for this movie?
Shane Black.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Who would later direct Lethal Weapons as well.
Right. I mean, he does 4? 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Mm-hmm. But Richard Donner, and the thing is that Richard Donner is known for a few franchises, Superman probably being the biggest one for him. But I remember when reading about this movie, like how tough it was for him because he wanted to bring good, passionate films, obviously. But keep in mind, Donner's directed stuff like The Omen. He obviously talked about Superman. He did The Goonies. He did Lethal Weapon. Like Scrooged was like after this movie.
Real quick, we'll stand corrected because we don't want to get the wrong information out of it. Richard Donner directed all 4 movies.
Yeah, mm-hmm. You're right.
Shane Black written all 4 movies.
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he got a lot of crap, and I think it's a little unjustified here because it wasn't like any of these movies were actually bad. It was just, you know, sometimes like he didn't want to go the dark direction that movies go nowadays. Like right. if you think about like what Lethal Weapon would have been like now, some of those intensity scenes that you see with Mel Gibson as playing as Martin Riggs, mm-hmm. Who knows how dark they would have been and how weird that would have really looked.
In the hands of a different director.
Right, exactly. That's what makes Donner so good. Like he understands that you don't need to push the absolute limit of the acting ability of these guys. Just write the scene and let the actor act out the role. Right. He really did not like dark scenes in the movie at all, actually.
Well, and it's funny because when it comes to Richard Donner, I typically know him from Lethal Weapon.
And Superman.
And then later on in life, he did the 16 Blocks with Bruce Willis and Mos Def.
Right. He did a lot. Like he worked with Mel a lot. Mm-hmm. He did Conspiracy Theory with him. He did Maverick with him. All the Lethal Weapon movies with him. It wasn't Scrooge, but and he wasn't Lady Hawk. No, I think that's it when it comes to Mel. He also did Lady Hawk. You remember Lady Hawk?
Right.
That was such an underrated, weird movie, but it was so good.
I've seen it one time.
It was like Rutger Hauer, and Rutger Hauer is like one of my favorite 80s like villains.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He plays the dude from Blade Runner. But man, like Donner was around for a little while.
Now I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be full blown honest. Now I've seen all 4 movies. You said that your favorite is
1.
I gotta say my favorite is 4.
4 is a lot of fun.
4 is so much fun, and it was. I remember specifically when 4 was getting ready to come out. And I remember going to the theater and remember it was a huge cutout of Gibson, Glover, Chris Rock, Jet Li, Rene Russo, Pesci. It was like, oh shit, Lethal Weapon 4. Wow. And I'm at the age where I can remember it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I remember seeing the trailer for the first time, and the trailer was Chris Rock, basically just letting you know a Lethal Weapon 4 is coming.
Yeah. The issue, it's not that I thought that the others weren't good. It's just Lethal Weapon 1 it basically took the cop buddy trope that is now oh so common today and turned that into a franchise.
Right.
You know, and can you really say that with any other movie? Seriously, what other buddy cop series of movies came out before Lethal Weapon? There's been some good ones like In the Heat of the Night.
Or 48 Hours, you can count that as well.
Right.
Not a buddy cop movie, though.
Right. 48 Hours. Beverly Hills Cop had 1 and 2, but again, can we really call that a buddy cop movie? No. In this case, they played it smart. They took 2 very talented actors at the time and meshed them together and gave this really incredible storyline. And
don't forget, at one point, they were really circling a Lethal Weapon 5. And I'm kind of glad they didn't go down that route, only because
I thought 4 wrapped it up perfectly.
4 wraps it up perfectly. Especially with the end credits when, you know, the Eric Clapton song is going on.
Right.
And which I didn't even realize Eric Clapton is a part of all 4 movies in regards to music.
Yeah, he sure is.
Which I think is so dope. But yeah, I'm with you. Lethal Weapon 4 wraps it up. Great.
There's no point to having a Lethal Weapon 5. What are we really going to talk about? Retirement years? I'm not interested in seeing that.
Murtaugh's like a great grandfather.
Right. Yeah. Murtaugh would be a great grandfather. Chris Rock would be closing in on retirement. Like,
at this point, yeah.
I'm not okay with it.
Leo's probably dead now at this point.
Right. So it's fine. It's fine them trying to do the Clayne Crawford, Damon Wayans route, even though
which I'm not gonna lie. That show has some good moments. So we're like, I really do enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah, but it's too much drama that comes with it. Like the whole Clayne Crawford situation was crazy. Now Wayne's about to leave the show anyway. So it's almost like, what's the point? But when it was ripe and it was fresh, I enjoyed some of the stuff.
All right, let's get into this, man.
Roger Murtaugh is celebrating his 50th birthday.
What, we ain't going to talk about the naked white woman?
Yes, we can do that. You're right. We should talk about the naked white woman because she is naked. Like, literally.
Like, she is topless and
like,
seeing everything.
30 seconds into the movie, we got a pair of tits.
Yep.
The movie opens with that super old school Warner Brothers logo.
Right.
And the font in the opening credits logo. This is old. This is really old.
It's the 1980s, yeah.
And it opens with, what was it? Santa Claus coming down?
So, yeah. No, it's Jingle Bell Rock.
Jingle Bell Rock. Mm-hmm.
So it's doing the kind of slow trope Jingle Bell Rock. And we see a woman who we would later find out to be Amanda Hunsaker, is being really loopy and looks like she's on drugs totally completely. And she's topless, you know, and looked like she took some LSD because she believed that she could fly, and she failed at that.
You know, long story short.
You know, she did. So then we cut to Roger Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover, in the bathtub, you know, celebrating his 50th birthday. He's got a good beard going on too. And let me ask you this, because this didn't happen in my household, but he's sitting there in the bathtub and like the kids ambush him in the bathtub. As he's sitting in the bathtub, and you could see everything because there are no bubbles in that bathtub.
That's a clear tub.
You know what's funny? They do that too often in this series, actually.
Hey, Dad's dick is out.
So let me ask you: Did you ever ambush your father in the bathtub?
I did not.
Celebrate his birthday.
One, because my dad's in the bathroom. I'm gonna let him handle his business. Two, my dad doesn't take baths. So let's get that out in the open right now. My father is not a bath taker. If he was, I'm not busting there to talk to my father right now. No,
come on. Why not? Why don't you just want to, ambush him with birthday cake?
Hey, Dad, I know you butt ass naked, wet in the bathtub. Here's your birthday cake, though. Nah. I'd rather wait till you dress, buddy. It's all good. But yeah, I never did it. Did you?
No, not recently. I'm just kidding. No, I never did it.
Not since.
But so Murtaugh's 50.
Yes.
And this is the first Lethal Weapon. He is 50 years old.
Already.
How old is Martin Riggs?
Gotta be like in his mid-30s, right?
He is 38
right.
at the time. So you've had a police career at this point. Like 50 was like back in the 1980s was when we were talking retirement.
Right.
You know, so for him to kind of have like this whole new experience and new thing, new partner and whatnot, it was a little interesting, you know, but
at 50.
Right. Obviously he gets a call to go down and check out a woman. And they kind of start piecing the puzzles together when he finds out that's actually, that he's been receiving calls from an old friend of his, Richard Hunsacker, and that he hadn't seen him in like 12 years or so, or something like that. And come to find out his daughter's the one that's dead in the, on the car. And that's when he decides to make a call and see what happens. Then it cuts to the butt nakedness of Mel Gibson that's going on here.
Yes. Now, the intro to Riggs, which, side note, Riggs gets fucked up every movie.
I mean, Murtaugh.
Yeah, but not quite like Riggs. Riggs gets beat to shit every movie.
Riggs asked for it most of the time.
He does.
Even in Lethal Weapon 4, you know, he's asking for it.
To fight Jet Li. Jet Li beats the brakes off of Riggs. And Murtaugh, respectively. But it seems like, especially rewatching this movie, I'm like, he just loves getting beat the fuck up.
Absolutely.
I mean, and then which could possibly be my iconic scene would be the fight between him and Busey's character. But we'll get to that in a second. But the intro to Riggs is probably one of my favorite intros to any franchise character really ever, because you get the iconic scene when he's going to buy the drugs, you know, undercover, and you know these guys. Okay, first of all, he's buying coke, right?
Right, and he's buying he's buying coke.
That coke looks like that's expensive, quite. So he says it's 100. You know, we mean $100,000. He breaks out $100, right? Which I thought was hilarious.
Is that not normal?
No. You don't buy coke? No. But what I thought was hilarious because, and also an iconic scene as well, is that when the guy calls him crazy.
Right.
And he goes, I'm crazy? Huh? And all that shit. Like, that's classic Mel Gibson.
Now, funny enough.
Classic Riggs.
Now, funny enough, a lot of people believe that Mel really was like, oh, was he really like a known established actor at this time? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Because the Mad Max series had already had 3 movies out by the time Martin Riggs was actually created. So I got to ask you this: who's a more iconic character? You know, just for argument's sake, Mad Max or Martin Riggs?
For argument's sake, I'm gonna say Martin Riggs.
Okay.
Reason why is because I'm not gonna say Mad Max was forgotten about. I will say, however, the release of Mad Max Fury Road got people back into the Mad Max lane.
Agreed.
You know, prior to Mad Max Fury Road, people typically did forget about Mad Max, and really the iconic Mel Gibson character is Martin Riggs.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we get this introduction to
or Ransom. Give me back my son. I love that movie. Sorry, go ahead.
See, I have a problem with the Ransom because I don't care for the ending of that, and because I felt like Mel was overacting towards the end. But during that time, he was kind of overacting, even in Conspiracy Theory, which is I rewatched recently, and it's interesting, but definitely not one of his best works. Anyway, so we'll talk about that here in a second. So we get this introduction to Riggs with Murtaugh, right? And Riggs is sitting there in a ball cap, like a flannel shirt.
Looking suspicious as fuck.
I mean, he is looking suspicious, you know. And Murtaugh's eyeballing him because he's got his suspenders on and his dress shirt and his suspender pants that go along with it. And Murtaugh kind of calls him. He's like, gun. He Riggs is holding his gun in his hand, like not even realizing. Danny Glover's a big dude compared to Mel Gibson.
Yes, he is.
And he gets his ass taken down way too easily to be a cop.
On him.
With the gun on him, pointed in his face.
Let me ask you this, and I'm gonna reel it back on YouTube. I'm gonna bring it back really quickly. We see Riggs mourning his wife, and he has the issue with the gun.
That's not yet. That actually happens next.
No, that was before that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's after the coke bust before he meets Murtaugh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How that moment for you? How did that moment really bring around at least the interest in wanting to get to know more about Riggs?
So there's a couple things with this scene that is brilliant. First and foremost, that's a real bullet. Mm-hmm. When Donner shot this scene, and it was already a really dark scene to begin with, but to ante up the emotion that's in this scene, that's an absolute real bullet. If there was a misfire there, serious injury would have happened.
Mel Gibson would have blew his fucking head off.
Yeah. Basically. So Riggs obviously is mourning the death of his wife from a car accident. They've been married for 11 years. And this was a real huge selling point about Martin Riggs for a long period of time. Because think about this. This was something he continued to deal with really until the end of the last movie, and it's something that Donner really captures here. Now, in this particular scene, he has the gun, he loads it, and it's just like, it's a slow burn, and you're seeing him loaded in there, and he just can't pull the trigger. And there's so much emotion that's driving in there. That's what makes Mel Gibson one of the better or best actors during that time. It's why he won the Academy Award for Braveheart, obviously. He knew how to derive this emotion out of you. But more importantly, it's a very real emotion. Nowadays people talk suicide. And if you look at that, where somebody just does not understand how to live without that other half of them.
Right.
And you see him get to that place with you. I got emotional. Like that was an emotional moment for me.
Yeah, it gave me chills. It definitely gave me chills. Like it was almost like if you're trying to sell it, you're left to really feel for this character.
Yeah.
It's like he is so emotionally drained and distraught, he's willing to take his own life.
Yeah.
Though he's a cop.
It's one of those emotions that it's a very personal emotion that you're seeing. I'm not sure if there was actually something going on with Gibson during that time, but that was a little too real for me in some cases. Like it felt like it was something that he was feeling at the time. Obviously, nothing came of it, thankfully.
Right.
But and Donner knew. You know what? There's few movies that do that, and I always like to bring up when people bring up these emotions, like what is actually going on through that person's life at that time. A good example of this. One of my favorite Liam Neeson movies is The Grey. That's the one where the plane crash. Yeah. Awesome. Plane crashes, there's wolves. Right. But there's an emotion that he has to derive out of, because if you remember, about a year before The Grey was right, Natasha Richardson passed away. And the director literally told him, he says, when you're writing this letter, because he's writing this letter to his dead wife who died of cancer, when you're writing this letter, I want you to imagine as if you're trying to write it to your wife. He goes, and I'm sorry that that's such a personal moment, but that's the emotion I need to get out of you. Right. And you see it. You absolutely see it.
She died the year before.
Yeah, she died from the hematoma.
Right.
Because the skiing accident.
Right.
But yeah, man, like that's what I look for in movies. When I can get just those little tidbit moments of emotion, that's what makes me a movie fan.
Yeah, the moment of clarity, the moment of emotion. It's a moment that everybody can't convey. It's really something like you really got to pull it out of the best people.
Right. And the reason why I like it so much, the reason why I kind of look for it, to be honest.
Vulnerability, if you will.
Well, because we're all vulnerable in real life. We all put on our facade when we go to work. We all put on our facade when we're in front of friends. Everything in life is cool. I'm making all this money, whatever. That's a facade. Life is going okay. My family and I are doing well. That could be a facade. And the thing is that the reason why is because either A, you don't know if that person would really understand what you're going through, or B, you don't know if that person is going to understand at all.
Right.
And the thing is, when you see those moments in movies, it's like you feel like that character is speaking to you. You feel like that character is taking something out from you. So let's move on to the happier subject real quick, the suicide scene.
Okay. Take it away.
So anyway, so they get a call for a jumper, right? And as they're kind of connecting with this buddy friendship, Murtaugh obviously knows that Riggs is probably crazy, but he's not sure. And Riggs is supposed to talk this guy down off a ledge. And first of all, this guy was annoying. Like, I don't know who that actor was, but he was just a bad actor. And so this entire time, like Riggs is just trying to be like, look, man, my boss is watching. Can you and he does the whole thing where he hands him the cigarette and whatnot. He hands him the cigarette. And as he goes to light it, he latches on the handcuffs, right? And the guy's trying to kill himself. He's like, forget this, man. I'm going to jump. He's like, you really want to jump? You really? Well, that's fine. That's fine with me. So let's jump. Let's go ahead and jump. It was like that switch. It caught you off guard, but it was almost hilarious at the same time. And then the jump happens. And of course it's shot in super slow-mo. And off screen, I was telling you about the blooper that was in that scene.
Yeah, I didn't mention it.
You could clearly see it. They separate hands, and in the process of them separating hands, you actually see the fake handcuffs they have break off. It was a little funny.
All right,
but then talk to me about that Murtaugh scene, immediately afterwards with him, because he gets pissed at him.
He does get pissed at him, but you can just tell that it was written to be like, "What is your fucking problem?"
Right.
And once again, Murtaugh's 50 years old. We don't know how long he's been a cop, but we assume he's been a cop for a long time at this point.
Yeah, let's assume 30 years.
Assume 30 years.
Yeah.
He's never dealt with a motherfucker like this before.
No, of course not.
And for them to be your partner. That's why I do love the Lethal Weapon series, right? Like we said before, the Lethal Weapon series is almost like the birth of the buddy cop genre. Because in these, give or take.
Right.
In these 4 movies, we watched these guys go from being almost at odds with each other. Murtaugh thinking he's fucking insane. Riggs going through what he goes through. By the 4th movie, they're brothers.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
They're
they're there to see their children's children have kids.
Yeah,
they're there to support each other in every step of the way. Yeah, they were definitely best men at each other's wedding.
Yeah, I love the fact that the movie starts off with this really odd, rocky relationship, and eventually, as time progresses, they just become like a better on-screen chemistry for me. Not a better one, but a one that mimics that almost is Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in Bad Boys.
Well, yeah, it's a grown.
You watch these guys grow together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even with I want to kind of leave out the 3rd movie because the 3rd movie is horrible, but the Rush Hour series with Lee and Carter. These even their chemistry is you watch them grow. The 3rd movie's horrible, but I like to watch these guys grow. It's
interesting because I always consider Nick Nolte a very good actor. Mm-hmm. But I never felt that way between Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy at all in the movie.
It felt odd.
It just felt like an odd pairing. Even though the movies are good, which is ridiculous because you usually need that chemistry to make it work. But this was really the first true time, because even in Beverly Hills Cop, it wasn't that he was being buddy with these guys. He was just outsmarting all the other cops.
Right.
You know, this was the first time that we really had that bromance between two guys that really kind of understand the jobs. Right. You know, in that scene afterwards with the suicide scene, you have Murtaugh, you know, they're trying to figure out all this information, and he's trying to figure out. Once again, that intensity from Mel comes out. And it's like, that was the moment that you realize that he's serious about this. This isn't a game to him. He's not just having a bad couple of weeks and is going through stuff. He is that was a moment that he made that public to somebody.
Right.
That wasn't, again, a facade. That was, you guys are now seeing this, like, no problem. Right. And so Murtaugh is trying to deal with that. They go to this house where they think this guy who has Connect basically has
the pimp.
Yeah, and that was just a weird scene.
The pimp, you mean?
Yeah, and they like shoot this guy. Why did this guy have a tarp over his swimming pool?
You got to keep the leaves and the bugs out.
Yeah, but come on, man.
Why not?
Come on.
Why not?
Come on.
You wouldn't put a tarp on your swimming pool?
Because of the exact problem that happened to him, which is he gets shot a couple times, you know, because he's not giving the information, and he gets caught up in this bullshit, and he dies. Mm-hmm. What a fool!
Yeah, what a
fool! That's all that is.
So, all right, so they kill the pimp. That we know for a fact. They kill the pimp, and there's drugs all around. It's a drug lab, really, on the premises,
right?
And so they kill the pimp. Riggs kills the pimp and saves Murtaugh, who starts to pretty much tolerate Riggs. You know, you kind of see them kind of breaking the shell, if you will.
The funny thing is that this all happens in the first day, if you think about it.
This is all the first day. This is all the first day.
He talks now. He jumps off a building, and then they wind up like shooting people, like no problem, you know. And then
man.
And then next thing you know, he's like invited out to dinner, where where Murtaugh's gorgeous daughter, Rianne, she had them thirsty eyes.
Yeah, she's a gorgeous.
She was thirsty.
But I'm gonna skip to they try to question Dixie at her home.
Okay.
And the home explodes before they approach it.
Right.
So Riggs finds this mercury switch from bomb debris, and he basically comes up with the notion that this is a professional hit. And some children who have been nearby who witnessed a guy approach the house with a tattoo similar to the one that Riggs has. And then Murtaugh suspects Hunsaker isn't telling the truth.
Absolutely. You know, and that scene, but the most revealing scene of that is as they're talking to the kids. By the way, who is a little boy?
Shit. It is going to be a 2-minute drill question, too.
What was the character's name, at least?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Alfred.
Who plays him?
Oh, I can't remember who played him. Right. But I actually think he actually did become something afterwards.
I believe he did.
Anyway, so speaking with Alfred, the little boy, this little 6-year-old boy, points out that the tattoo that Riggs has is from Special Forces, from his time in the war. And that raises a lot of questions because now you're actually talking military contractors that are basically involved. By the way, the scene before that is one of my favorite scenes. That was the gun shooting scene. That was the target practice scene.
Right.
That's one where at one point, Murtaugh goes and he does this like unique little move with his neck and then pulls out the little 6-shooter and puts a bullet right in the target's skull. No problem. Riggs turns around, sends it all the way down, takes out his pistol and he draws out a little smiley face, making that into the nose. And then Murtaugh's like,
that Murtaugh neck thing has been like all 4 movies, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
And same thing with Rig's shoulder.
Ah, yes.
That was really popular. But anyways, what I loved about that scene is that like Murtaugh afterwards was like, what do you do? Sleep with that thing? It's true because it looked ridiculous. Just trying to say everything. So anyway, Murtaugh goes and he questions Hunsaker. In the process of hunting down Hunsaker, they finally learn about Shadow Company, right? In the process of him getting ready to reveal the operation, which is really a heroin import-export, smuggling, and Hunsaker gets shot down and killed by incoming helicopter in the process, right? And then everything just kind of starts happening where as they inch closer to get everything there, as they inch closer to the bad guys' plans, the bad guys decide to strike back and strike back hard.
Right.
And they make it look like they kill Riggs. They wind up kidnapping Rianne at this point, which is, by the way, that family, that's got to be the most tortured family ever, right?
In the history of film. Have you noticed every movie they get fucked with? Every movie.
Have you noticed that the house that they live in gets destroyed repeatedly?
Movie.
And it doesn't matter which house. A toilet gets blown up. The reconstructed version of that house gets blown up. In the 4th movie, the house gets set on fire.
It doesn't blow, though.
It doesn't blow.
But it gets set on fire.
But it gets set on fire.
Some shit does burn. Some shit definitely does burn.
What is the resale value of that house? Because I swear to God, the minute you tell me fire damage, I'm uninterested.
Yeah, I mean, when he says I'm too old for this shit, I believe you.
When Joe Pesci is trying to sell that house, what was he saying? That's what I want to know.
This house has survived 3 explosions and a fire.
So it's sturdy like a motherfucker.
So it's sturdy like a bitch. Okay? But yeah, they get fucked with almost every movie.
Right. So we get towards the third act of this movie. And in this case, Rig comes out with actually a pretty brilliant plan to snipe down these guys, right? Mm-hmm. While Murtaugh tries to negotiate for his daughter, right? And the plan looked like it's absolutely going to work until Riggs eventually gets caught. And then they all go and they decide to be tortured.
Right.
Right. Now, this torture scene with the electricity, it's so vivid in my imagination that I get chills just like thinking about it. And I like get like a muscle spasm.
Makes you
Everyone's,
move, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they're trying to figure out what information that both Riggs and Murtaugh basically have. And the truth is that even the information they would give them, it would still get them killed. So they're trying to hold off as long as they possibly can, and they're just getting fucked up.
Let's take a moment to recognize the incredible evilness of one Gary Busey.
Please do.
This guy, for as long as I've been in the film, has played one of the best villains or one of the best actors who can really pull off a villain role I've ever seen. We were talking about it off air. We were talking about Drop Zone and Point Break. And
Well, he wasn't a villain in Point Break. He was a partner.
You're right. Take it back.
But he had one of my favorite lines in that movie. Mm-hmm. He looks at, first of all, Keanu Reeves' name in that movie is Johnny Utah. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And he goes and he's like talking to him. He's like, all right, Utah, listen to me. I want you to go around the corner, thinking like it's like a serious thing. He's like, there's a hot dog stand right over there. And they sell these Chicago dogs that are just absolutely to die for. I want you to get me 2 of them. And like Keanu's kind of rolling his eyes and he takes off. But the scene kind of keeps playing because Catherine Bigelow is just shooting it. Mm. And he like kind of hops out the car, California style. And he's like, hey, Utah, 2 dogs, 2.
I love Busey in Drop Zone.
Yeah.
Definitely a criminally underrated movie. one of Wesley Snipes' best, but Gary Busey just portrays this evil dude, you know, and the way he is in this movie as a guy who just doesn't blink very often. And when he does, somebody's gonna die.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he plays Mr. Joshua. And even his intro was like, you're fucking crazy. I got it. Let's carry on.
So Riggs breaks out by basically breaking the guy's neck.
Yes.
You know, and he messes up the bad guy's plans, and everybody kind of escapes and drop Rihanna off with an officer and whatnot. And Riggs, you know what? We always make fun of Tom Cruise for always running, but Riggs can run. Like Mel Gibson can run.
He runs a lot. Now, technically, being from LA, he's supposed to run from, I'm going to assume it's Hollywood and like Cahuenga to like somewhere off Sunset and another street, which is a legit 3 blocks he has to run. 3 long blocks he has to run at that to catch up with Joshua's character.
Right.
With Mr. Joshua. At this point, General McAllister got killed by the bus.
Right.
And but Joshua, who knows where Murtaugh lives, he's already headed over to Murtaugh's place.
Right. But in that process, you know, we gotta give credit to Danny Glover here because he's like, no way, you gotta die today.
No way, you gotta die today.
Because even though it's not really like hit on, like he doesn't want to kill people. But it was like at that moment he was like, nah, fuck you, you gotta die today.
You fuck with my family, of course you gotta die.
So he tried chasing him down. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. And we get to the climax of the film because General McAllister is now dead. We get to the ending fight scene. And you said this was close to your iconic scene?
Very possible to be my iconic scene. Only because in typical Lethal Weapon fashion, number one, before the fight scene even really takes off, he makes it to the house. Josh makes it to the house.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking around. He's kind of shooting around. Like, come home to your house looking like this or some shit. I forgot the actual line. But it's a note there saying, dear bad guys, nobody here but police, love good guys. Right? Crashes a car through the house.
Yeah.
Which is already fucked up at this point.
Right, yeah.
You know, then you got Glover and you got Gibson. Now, what makes this whole scene crazy is that.
So, and that's it. So, the remodel is in Lethal Weapon 2.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
The bathroom is Lethal Weapon 3. That's it. Go ahead.
And so, as, you know, they catch up with him, you know, they bring him out, and, you know, basically, you know, Murtaugh's telling Riggs, hey, go kick his motherfucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
And we get this fight. We get this crazy brawl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's going to be my iconic scene. I'm telling you now. Because when all the backup shows up, mind you, Joshua already took out 2 of their guys.
Yep.
Killed 2 police officers.
Yeah.
So they got no problem pulling up, getting out the car. You know, I'm not going to draw my gun. I'm going to watch Riggs kick his fucking ass. Right?
And boy, does he.
And boy, does he. And it comes with that awesome ending was when Riggs, like, you know, it's not, he has him to a point to where he can pretty much break his neck and kill him.
Yep. Yeah, he has him in a triangle choke.
Right. But he doesn't do it. He said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And you just know for a fact. And I've seen the movie before. You know for a fact, once you try to slap cuffs on this man, he's going to try some other shit.
Yep.
And what's he do?
Yeah, and you try, he basically reaches for the guy's gun. He moves over and reaches for the guy's gun. And both of them are
classic
ready.
Poacher shot. Riggs and Murtaugh pull their snub noses, blow his ass away.
Yep.
So I thought, and like I said, once again, Riggs gets beat up every movie. So he's beat the shit, but he won. He definitely won. But which cuts to the next scene of Riggs at the gravesite of his wife, which is emotionally heavy scene, but at the same time, he's slowly but surely coming to terms with, you know, the passing of his wife.
Well, it's the first real scene where he's learning to finally accept who he is.
Right.
And learning to accept how to really move on.
Right.
You know?
Which I love that because it gets heavy. But then that final scene is Riggs comes over to Murtaugh's house, sees Rianne, and basically him and Murtaugh have a quick exchange. And he's not going to stay at first.
No.
And Murtaugh comes out, leaves him eat this nasty ass turkey by myself. And that's the birth of the friendship of Riggs and Murtaugh.
Right.
And also, it's a subtle moment, but he goes, "Can I bring a friend?" You know, yeah, and he wishes out for the dog to come out, which I thought was I thought that was cool. You know what I mean? Because the dog is now becomes a part of the movie, part of the franchise as well.
Right. Right, and he chases the cat away.
Yes.
2-minute drill question. What's the cat's name? I'll give you a hint. It's a city in California.
Malibu.
Nope. Burbank.
Is a cat named Burbank?
Burbank. Huh. Chew on that.
All right. Well, that's Lethal Weapon. Good call for this week. Let me ask you a quick question before you get into takeaways. Mm-hmm. Lethal Weapon, the concept of Lethal Weapon. We already have the remake, the TV show remake. You think they'll try to give Lethal Weapon another go?
Okay, so are we... All right, first off...
Let's just say hypothetically the show's over. It's about to be over.
Okay. Are we talking specifically the Lethal Weapon franchise, or are we talking about...
A complete reboot?
I mean, first of all, this is Hollywood, so Hollywood's going to try to find a way to make money. Mm-hmm. I think they will consider it, but if they're smart, they'll leave it alone. Like, Lethal Weapon is one of those movies that it's the ultimate buddy cop movie. Like seriously, even the worst of those movies, which is Lethal Weapon 3, you know, even at its absolute worst, is still better than a lot of buddy cop movies that we got today. You know, think of like other movies that spawned off because of this. And I'm not just talking Rush Hour. I'm talking almost immediately afterwards, 4 years later, we have Point Break, you know, and there's a reason why I bring that up, because they were trying to really capitalize on how awesome of a character Patrick Swayze and how awesome a character Keanu Reeves was.
Right.
And it just so happened that Gary Busey was also tied in there. You know, you had, there's so many classic moments within it that they have tried doing this before in like movies like I Spy, which was a remake. Anyways.
True. And I actually prefer the remake of I Spy over the original.
The original wasn't that good, to be honest.
But the Eddie Murphy was one pretty good.
Right.
It was okay.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's the ultimate one, but in my eyes, it's okay to just let it be.
Right.
They've done,
just leave it alone.
They've already done enough with it. And to be honest, like it's still excellent to this day. Even the third one is still better than most other movies. I'm serious on that. Okay. What do you think?
I'm going to agree with you. Just certain things just need to be left alone. Some things just does not need a reboot. I'm open to a lot of things getting remade, rebooted, redone, whatever the term is, but certain franchises you put them in the vault, Hollywood history, and let that be that. Lethal Weapon is definitely in that category. As far as like, let's let this piece of cinematic history be what it is. We don't need to redo this just because.
I want to give a special shout out real quick in this to the soundtrack of this movie.
Eric Clapton.
Because I make fun of it too often. Like even my boy and I had this whole skit of like anytime we got to press that first like pew pew,
what is it?
Anytime we'd get sad over shit, we'd make sure we play that so we could laugh a little.
I'll tell you right now, the next time we have like a deep conversation and I see one of us getting kind of like down, I'm going, like, no matter what you're feeling, there's a guitar right there for you to convey that feeling for you. I love that. That shit is awesome. Let's get the takeaways, man. Who's getting your that guy at work?
Oh man. I mean, Martin Riggs. Like it's Martin Riggs.
Yep.
Yeah. He drives the emotion of this movie. And it's tough. This is hard for me to say because there's a lot about Roger Murtaugh that I like. I just think I connected more with Martin Riggs.
All right. That chick award.
There's not a lot to give, actually, unfortunately. But Trish.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I'll tell you why. Because that was natural chemistry between Danny Glover and who plays Trish?
Trish is played by.
I've seen her, and I mean, she's such an iconic character.
Fact checker.
I don't want to get this wrong, but it's gonna
played by Tracy Wolf.
Right. That is natural chemistry between Danny Glover and Tracy Wolf. Like. And she's polite. She's funny, you know. I mean, when Danny Glover's trying to like show off to Riggs, and she's just like, now you acting like an asshole. I'm like, you know what? He kind of is right now.
You know I get it.
Thank you for calling him out.
I get it. Who's getting your that full award?
Yeah, the dude off the roof of the building.
Yeah.
The acting was, and you know, it's supposed to be a funny scene, and then there's a blooper. So no.
Yes. Cut that out.
Cut that out. I wouldn't. I just think it's a good, tight enough movie that maybe shortening a couple scenes, but to be honest, then I would want to extend other scenes. You know, even the introduction of Mr. Joshua's character with the candle under his wrist, like
that was just creepy.
It was. That was creepy. But it was an awesome intro.
It really was. It really was. Iconic scene.
The first real time we have to get chemistry with them, and it's right after they jump off the building.
Right.
Now it's a real moment, honestly, but that's when the friendship started because Murtaugh wanted to know. He wanted to know, how crazy are you?
Right.
Because I think you're absolutely fucking nuts. Right. And I can't believe you just did exactly what you did. And so he threatens him by putting the gun under his head. And while there wasn't anything that needed to really be said, keep in mind, Martin's the one that stuck his finger to stop the hammer of that gun. He squeezed the gun to pull the trigger to kill himself. Roger is the one who stopped it at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, and that's when he realized that whatever approach I'm going with this guy, it's not going to work. He needs to understand that he needs to feel like he belongs. That's when he invited him to dinner afterwards.
Right.
And that's when it was like, you know, he's trying to show off a little bit, but at the same time, like, they talk shit out. You know? Yeah. That's my iconic scene.
Gotcha.
Who's just getting the That Guy award?
That Guy award, I'm going to push you with this one. I'm going to go with Riggs as well. He is the one who gives the heavier emotions. You do feel for him, what he's been through, what he's going through. And you can't help but to go with him on that journey, especially when he's conveying those emotions and those actions, and he's literally just crazy as fuck.
No, he was.
And let's just say, had he not met Murtaugh, had he wasn't been partnered with Murtaugh, there's no telling where his character could go.
No, I think he would actually want to probably killing himself.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like him being partnered with Murtaugh kind of gives him that sense of family.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, eventually, you know, that's Uncle Martin to them. You know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Riggs.
All right, who's getting you that chick award?
Like you, there's not a whole lot of chicks in here. I was going to give it to, what's her name's daughter? What's her name again?
Amanda Hunsaker?
Yeah, because she has her tits out. but I'm gonna skip that one. I'm gonna give it to Rihanna because Rihanna just looks damn good. She's always looked good through all 4 movies.
Okay.
So that's that.
That full award.
That full award was going to go to Joshua, but I realized he's just too cool of a villain to give it to him. So I'm going to give it to the guy who tried to kill himself.
Yeah, it just It was bad acting.
But then again, I was kind of stuck between that one or giving it to the dumbasses who try to pretty much kill Riggs during the phony code thing.
That would have been a good one also.
They just, I'm showing you a badge, by the way. Yeah, you still don't believe me I'm a cop.
2-minute drill question.
Yes.
There is a famous person among that group. Can you name him? Why are they famous?
No.
Okay. The famous person in there is Anthony Kiedis' father, who is the lead singer of Red Hot Chili Peppers. Right. He plays one of the goons. And it was actually something that was pretty cool to see. Like it was so subtle and so neat. I don't even think he got credited, even though he had lines in the movie. Yeah.
I don't think he got credit either.
No, I really don't think so.
All right, where we at?
Cut that out.
Cut that out. I'm also with you as well. I really want to cut anything out. I kind of want to see something kind of cut shorter or certain scenes kind of go on for a little while longer. Those scenes I don't necessarily want to, I don't know.
I think it would hurt the movie more than anything.
You know? Well, I think the movie has a perfect balance, a perfect time. It's an hour 47 minutes long. So it's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. So, it does flow on pretty tight. So I wouldn't necessarily cut anything out. Right.
And to be fair, I want to reel it back just a little bit. John Kiedis, who's the father, he goes by Blackie Dammit. He's been in a couple things. Magnum PI. He had a decent role in that. He's been like Alf. It was weird. Like he never like hit it big, but yeah, he was in stuff. And finally, re-explain here that your iconic scene.
Iconic scene, hands down, is going to be Riggs versus Mr. Joshua. Good old fashioned man on man, hand to hand, throw it down in the front lawn.
All right, let me ask you: Have you ever had a throw down on your front lawn?
On my front lawn, no. On a front lawn, yes.
Did you win?
I did.
Did you put him in triangle choke afterwards?
I did not.
Did you and your partner turn around and shoot water pistols?
I likely probably wouldn't be sitting with you now. But I won because I want to. Oh, fuck him! I won because he took a swing and missed. So I punched him. Then he gets to the floor, and I try to fight dirty. I try to like run up and like knee his face, but then he caught me coming real quick.
Ooh.
And so like when I ran up on him, he like grabbed my leg and I fell. So by the time he takes another swing at me again, I move and he punches the
ground,
the concrete. He's like, "Oh, my hand!" I won after that. So I left it at that. He couldn't fight anymore, so I won.
Who is this dude?
We went to school with him. we went to school with him. So fuck that guy. Anyway, moving on. Quick hits. You ready for some quick hits?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dave Meister. Danger Dave. Okay.
Dave Meister.
Dave Meister.
Yeah, no, that's not
in the scene where Riggs is contemplating suicide, there is an actual bullet blank in the chamber, which Mel Gibson was pointing at his head, thinking that it would allow for a greater sense of portraying the scene realistically and dramatically.
So wait, was that a blank bullet then?
It was a bullet blank. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. On E! True Hollywood Stories back in 1996, Gary Busey said he was hired to play Joshua because they were looking for someone big and menacing enough to be a believable foe for Mel Gibson. Busey also credited the film for reviving his failing movie career.
Yeah. I mean, it really did. Point Blank was after that. He was in Rookie of the Year after that, and that was before Drop Zone. You know.
Oh my God, he was Rookie of the Year. Playing not playing a bad guy.
First of all, Rookie of the Year is secretly like one of my favorite movies.
The movie's great. The movie's great. Daniel Stern. Oh my God.
Its character's so classic in that too.
Mel Gibson was only 30 when the movie was filmed, although his character Riggs was supposed to be 38.
Damn, he looked good for 30.
30 years old.
He looked good for 30. I'm not trying to hit on the dude, but he looked good for 30.
You sure? I can let him know.
Please do.
Okay, gotcha. Leonard Nimoy was one of the choices considered for directing, but he didn't feel comfortable doing action movies, and he was working on 3 Men and a Baby at the same time.
Yeah. Did you ever see 3 Men and a Baby?
I've seen 3 Men and a Baby. I've seen 3 Men and a Little Lady. Not my favorite movies, but I've seen
the first one's enjoyable.
It's cute. No,
I'm a Tom Selleck fan.
Selleck has one of the best mustaches in the game.
He also has like one of the. He also wears shorts like nobody's business. And now I'm starting to sound terrible because
I can see your balls. Selleck. Stop. Danny Glover's character, Sergeant Roger Murtaugh, is 50 years old in the movie, but Glover was only 40 years old in 1986.
That's right.
All right.
Do you know why he got that role?
Why is that?
Because of color purple.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Throughout filming, technical advisors from the LAPD as well as Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department worked closely with Richard Donner and the actors to ensure authenticity.
And it was authentic.
That it was. Recent UCLA graduate Shane Black wrote the screenplay in the mid-1985. His agent sent it to producer Joe Silver, who loved the story and worked with Black to further develop the script. All right. I have one more for you. We can do one more. Roger Murtaugh wasn't written with any ethnicity in mind.
No.
Danny Glover was suggested by Marion Doherty after seeing him in The Color Purple.
Which I just said.
Look at my guy knowing what he means. We'll do one more. Ron Perlman was considered for the roles of both Martin Riggs and Mr. Joshua.
There were a lot of actors that were considered.
Liam Neeson was in there.
Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson were supposed to flip-flop between that and Die Hard. Liam Neeson was considered. I think at one point Tom Cruise was tied to the movie, and everybody was tied with it. But they got the right actors in there.
Oh yeah, I can't see Riggs or Murtaugh played by nobody else but Gibson and Danny Glover.
Which is why it's tough for me to watch the TV show.
Oh, don't be biased.
No, I am biased.
Okay, that's fine.
I like the movie better than the TV show.
Okay, that's fine. Well, that's the show. Another good one. I know we did 2 super throwbacks in a row. So what? You like it. You like it because we like it. We like it because you love it. So, Danger David Neff, where can they find you?
You can always find me on the traditional social media platforms of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Danger Neff. I am the co-host here at Back to the Classics as well as Reel It Back. If you haven't checked it out yet, today, well, I guess when you hear this, the day that we recorded this, today we dropped the Aquaman trailer.
Aquaman
review. Sorry, I said trailer. It's an Aquaman review before the movie even comes out officially.
We officially brought back Reel It Back, and damn, it feels good.
It does, and we're gonna try to work that in a little bit more in the upcoming months in terms of like Netflix series, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, follow me on all those. And David Danger Neff.
Well, all right.
All right. There you go. My guy, Jay Alonzo. Where are you going to find you?
Well, you can find me on all the social media simply at I am Jay Alonzo. That's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Of course, follow the Back to the Classics podcast page on IG at BTTC Podcast. Of course, the Back to the Classics Facebook group, Back to the Classics, a movie talk group, is up and popping. Now being ran by David Neff. So
I mean, pretty much I'm running it.
Yeah, not being ran by David Neff because I can just never find time to get on the fucking thing. But jump on in, join the conversation. I love the fact that people are really on there talking and giving suggestions.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you, Neff.
I had to kick your uncle off.
Yeah.
I'm not invited to his barbecue. I can tell you that.
At all. But he understands though. I'll tell you that right now.
That's fair.
With that being said, once again, we'd like to thank you guys for always checking in with us. We'd like to thank you guys for the continued support, Cine Folks for Life. And with that being said, I am Jay Alonzo. I'm Danger Neff. And this is Back to Classic. We'll see y'all next week. 2 of them next week. Stay tuned. Peace.